So tell me, what is it that you desire? What is it that you desire from the tower? When watching this anime, no other quote comes to mind quite like this sentence. And no other word rings in my head like the word desire. No other word to me best describes the show to me. Desire is the motion of longing or hoping for a person, object, or outcome. The same sense is expressed by the words such as craving. When a person desires something or someone, their sense of longing is excited by the enjoyment or the thought of the item or person, and they want to take actions to obtain their goal. The Tower of God is like a tale that I've seen but haven't seen before. It's a tested formula for success where you bring together hundreds of would-be random people, risking their lives for a treasure, a reward. But this reward having endless possibilities to where it fits everyone's needs. The characters fight for the chance to climb the tower. This mysterious, omnipotent treasure holds the riches of all the world, but similarly has the value in which we describe One Piece, Gilgamesh's Gate of Babylon, or the Dragon Balls. But the treasure here is more or less the psychological power it holds rather than the object itself. But what makes this a bit different is the amount of planning and reverse narrative being thrown to get it. Here we have the would-be winner of all this helping out the quote-unquote weakest character in our standard protagonist, protecting him from everything, including the girl he loves, to his actual trials, to only find out that the girl he's been searching for all this time has been planning to kill him from the very beginning. Which switches a normal ally and enemy trope, making you distrust the people you should be trusting. They say you can literally become a god, so you expect to see some betrayal. But what also flips the anime on its head is seeing the people who are at the top. You would assume to see the most violent and desperate people at the top, but you only see children and young people. Only a certain amount of people are allowed to climb the tower. So it's easy to see that killing people off is the implied method to getting to your goal, but that's not necessarily it. Just like in life, there is never just one answer, and the rules of any game can be changed. Our desires can drive us insane and make us believe we are backed into a corner, pushing us to do anything. But at the end of the day, those choices are all our own, and you can't be manipulated into doing something horrible. We make that choice for ourselves, every single one of them. The show isn't trying to shame the character for doing this, but rather make those characters take those next steps to making that decision.
Hurry up and die already!
So let's talk about the next subject, being who is the true antagonist? Antagonist, a person who actively opposes or is hostile to someone or something. An adversary. For most of the season, there is no out-front antagonist or villain. In other shows, there is a laid-out villain who is an enemy that our hero has to overcome to succeed. Historically, these villains are just evil for the sake of being evil, but there is no such character here in plain sight. And if you guessed who's the antagonist, you'd still be wrong. Bam goes on a quest to find the girl, finds out that he can have all the riches of the world and he wants none of it, makes new allies along the way, who all have their own reason for being there, but are somewhat willing to also cooperate and help him with his quest because they like him. He then makes more friends and trains, but there's nothing new exactly happening here. At least not from Bam's perspective. There is no character arc or change in Bam, but if you start to look away from Bam, you'll notice who the real protagonist actually is, and by that effect, the antagonist. Now let's get to the heart of the story. Who is the main character of Tower of God? Well, that's obvious, isn't it? It's Bam. He's the character we see most in the journey, so it has to be him. No, it's Kun. He's always winning and developing as a character and showing off his skills. And he did that one cool thing with the crown. Wait, no, it can't be. You must be joking, right? It's Rachel. How could it be Rachel? Well, let me just tell you a story. I wasn't the best at remembering things, and I'm still not. But there was one thing my film professor taught me that I don't think I'll ever forget. This being characters. More importantly, what makes you the protagonist. The protagonist isn't the person who has the most screen time, but the reason why the journey is happening in the first place. Tell me, why is this story happening? What is the reason for it? Bam is climbing the tower to be with Rachel. Rachel was climbing to see the stars. And this kind of struck me at the beginning of the journey where they mentioned Bam, but they also mentioned Rachel the same way, right next to him actually.
At the top exists everything in this world, and all of it can be yours. You can become a god. This is the story of Rachel, the girl who climbed the tower so she could see the stars. And Bam, the boy who needed nothing except her. This is their end, and their beginning.
Along the journey, it's obvious to see that Bam is the center of all the attention, that he's able to bring people together, that he's the one with all these power-ups and hidden power, while Rachel is alone, in the dark, looking at Bam jealously, wanting what he has. The truth is that Bam is actually the antagonist, and you must be thinking, that's not right. The antagonist is the villain. Bam can't possibly be the villain. Well, the role of the antagonist does not equal villain. It's just normally played by the villain. Think about it like this. The role of the antagonist is to stand in the way of the protagonist being the blocking point of their happiness. And who is standing in front of Bam to stop his goal? No one. Not the Guardians, not the Snake Girl, not really any of the other characters along the way. He quote-unquote has an easy time, because his goal isn't to really climb the tower or to make a lot of money, but to just see Rachel. This is his motivation throughout the anime, and he makes it abundantly clear, even as much as you might call him a simp, he still is. Like I said, Bam, after seeing it through Rachel's eyes, has no goal but to just make her happy. If he was meant to be the protagonist of the story, this story would be over, and he would have gotten the girl, and he would have gone, and this story would have ended. But by the end of the story, Rachel pushes him off, believing that she's finally won, that she's killed him, receiving her false happiness. When we look at all the characters and map out their goals, this makes sense. I mean, there's an obvious correlation between the rest of the characters getting along with Bam, but he still is not the reason they continue to climb the tower. Like I said at the beginning, they want to honor his memory by taking her along with them. But remembering, they all have their own reason for being there, and they would have continued without him. And that's just the structure of the show. We all want something, and the tower will provide it. Now, finally, let's talk about something that's been thrown out in the anime, and something I bet we're all wondering. What makes someone worthy? Now, to finally answer this question, what makes somebody worthy, throughout the series, we see it time and time again, it mentioned people being killed, pushed aside for the more talented people, and being told time and time again that they're not special. Because in a lot of ways, that's a very negative message to send, and a reason to feel a little bit bad for Rachel and other people like her getting lost in the world. The anime says how luck is the biggest factor into getting to the top, which is very true in Bam's case. But what I think puts him in his position is not his actual luck, but him not wavering his convictions. Funny enough, the thoughts and ideas that Rachel taught him in the cave are the same ideas and thoughts that are getting him to this point. I feel like no better scene shows this to me than when the tsunami is being thrown at him and he doesn't move or get pushed back. No matter what the rules of the tower dictates, he just doesn't budge, he doesn't care. This narrative of no matter how hard you try, you can't do something comes up. He simply doesn't care and keeps walking, and he doesn't let it affect him. That's why people like him. You're not going to get some made-up answer or layered reasoning response from him. He simply does what he can do and tries at it. You're simply just not going to move him.
I promised I'd take you to the tower one day. We can look at the stars.
Now for my final thoughts on the anime. The story felt more relaxing than a show about killing people to get to the top usually would. There were some twists, but the characters stayed pretty much in their own world. The story isn't heavily reliant on just one character, like I said, with it actually having plenty of backstory and world building they can add. The music and sound are supplying you with a lot of quality songs, but none of them are like platinum hits. Like, while watching this anime, I didn't really want to skip, which is honestly good enough, because in a lot of animes, I happen to just skip openings that I think are bad. So for me, not wanting to really skip is a big plus for me. So I graded all in all at an 8.3 out of 10. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Comment down below, like, subscribe, all the other good stuff. I really did enjoy watching Tower of God. It has some really good moments, and I was able to actually binge it all in like a day or two. So yeah, if you have any more suggestions on animes to review, please comment down below and let me know. As well as tell me, what do you think was your favorite part? Or what do you think you just straight up disagree with me on? Did you disagree on the antagonist part, the protagonist part? Did you not like this series at all? Because like I said, I genuinely liked it. I thought it was okay. And are you guys also watching any of the other Crunchyroll original animes? And I do mean Crunchyroll original ones that they've made, not just the one with it says original one. But I think it's gonna do it. Fairy Anime out.